This is an update on our power needs in case of an emergency. So our electricity went out for about 6 hours, and our temperatures were in the upper 90s. All of us in my block, we were all in sweltering heat. The good thing is that I had already gone out and gotten some power stations. I already had three of these power stations, which are really good. I had used one of these from that I bought at Costco for $100, and I this is good because you can jump start a car. It's got an air compressor. You can blow air up a tire, and I ran it. I ran one of these Vornado fans. That's right here for about 4 hours, full on blast, and that lasted 4 hours with this 200-watt power station. Thankfully, also I had already gotten prepared and had four of these Duracell power blocks. I bought these at Costco. I think you can, Duracell makes different kinds of them. But the good thing about this is that it's a 200, it's a 500 watt, and it's got a surge capacity, I think, up to 1,000 watts. It's ready for me to hook up some solar panels, so there's not anything to think about too much. So this was really handy, and it's a 500 watt, and I'm going to be curious to know if I were to run it to run that fan, how long I'm actually going to be able to run it for, and I'm actually going to try it and do a test on it. But I was really happy for this because we were able to run fans and run our laptops and have lighting, and so that was a good thing for us. The last thing is the whole thing forced me to take out my power inverter that I had bought about a year ago. I had bought a power inverter and a battery, and it's a marine RV battery that's down here, and I had not used that. I think I paid like $120, something like that, and I had this inverter down here. It's if you get one, make sure it's a pure sine power inverter. But this is the brand that I got, and I think it was like $300. And so it's a 1,500 watt of continuous power with a 300 watt surge. And so the surge is like when you're trying to start something that initial inertia of it, that it takes up a lot more electricity. But I just hooked it up with some cable that I had already bought to connect the battery to the inverter. And basically it's as simple as connecting those and then turning it on, and so I started powering up fans with it, and I checked my battery level. It has, I had bought it a year ago, and when I checked the power, the capacity on it, it was almost fully charged a year later. So I am going to buy one more battery to have, and to have it ready to hook up to my sine wave. I had also bought a battery charger to use with my battery, and this is what I had bought for that. You have to buy, if you're going to buy a battery, it has to be a marine battery, because those are made for allowing them to go all the way down to zero and then recharging them, and to continue to do that takes a lot out of a battery, and so you want those marine RV batteries for that. Okay, the other thing that really it helped me to focus on was our lighting. And so we had what we had, and I had actually purchased some, I had some lighting already in the house that I thought was going to be enough, and it turned out to be not enough. And so now I'm more focused on what we need in case of an emergency to really light up the house, because you don't realize how much of a mental drain it really is on you when you're in the room. Next time I'm actually going to connect a TV, a small TV, and actually allow it to put a DVD on, something to get our minds off of the situation, But what came in really good, and I had bought these lanterns and I really like them. I got these, but the only thing I don't like is that they're actually, you use actual batteries with them, D-size batteries. But as far as lighting, this came in bomb. You can sit it down, it's got different settings. And we were able to put that up and it lit up the whole room. It has different settings, even like I guess an SOS setting. That came in really helpful. The other thing that was a surprise that came in very helpful was these little mosquito lights. And these were really good because it's got different settings. And, you know, here's for the mosquito if you want to try to catch mosquitoes. But at this point, it was like, forget the mosquitoes. We needed lighting. And this came in so helpful. I bought these at Costco for about $40 for 3 of them. And because they work so well, I went and bought more. And this is what I'm keeping for my emergency lighting, not to catch mosquitoes, because I let this on for 12 hours. And I think I stopped trying to see if it was the electricity was going to go out at 12 hours. That came in so well. It's also got a hook, so you can hang it up from somewhere, or you could just lay it flat. The other things that the other lighting that I had was one of these, and this is pretty handy, something like this, because you know it's got a light, so you can see your situation. And then there's something like this. I went and bought this afterward, but this would be something like this would be really useful. It's supposed to be for lighting up like a closet, but this came in really handy. It would come in handy the next time. The other thing that came in very useful was this kind of light that we use that I had bought these at Costco. They have similar. I guess it's something like this, but this what's good about something like this is that you can also charge your cell phones with it, or charge other things that you need charged. But the lighting on that was really strong and powerful and was very useful. So I'm definitely going to get some more of these. I haven't seen them at Costco lately, and they were not cheap. I think they were like $25 or each. So for 2, it's $50 at Costco. So those, in fact, I'm going to leave it on because I like that extra lighting right now while I'm recording. But and then the other consideration is to make sure that you have something. Like I was able to charge a couple of these at the same time, so I had just an extension for this. The things that I did not like was anything that I had to use batteries for. Like this is, would be a light, but I would have to put batteries inside of it. And I really am tending towards getting things that I can just charge up. Like this type of light would have been useful too. I didn't get this till afterward, but what's good about this is that it gives a broad light and you can stand it up as well. And it's got a magnetic base on it. So that would work really well. Another consideration is I bought this after our electricity went out. But I had bought this emergency radio, that you can do a hand crank on it. But I think I paid like $25 for this. But not really impressed with that. I'd seen another somebody who's into prepping talk about this radio, and here's the information for it. This KA500 Voyager emergency radio that's got I guess it's a NOAA weather radio. But what I like about this is that it's got a bigger little solar charger. It's got a hand crank, and it's also got where you can put, here's a hand crank. It also has where you can use batteries or just use the rechargeable battery that's inside of it. So that's, those are useful things. All things to consider in case of an emergency. I'm feeling a lot more prepared in case our electricity goes off. Like I said, I'm going to buy another marine RV battery because I'm also gonna let that run my fan and see how long it'll run the fan for. But I can also run my refrigerator with that setup. But the advertisement for this power block Duracell, excuse me, this Duracell power block is that it also says that you can use it for running a mini or medium-sized fridge on it. So all things that to think about. Oh yeah, and the last thing was this type of like a small. This is supposed to be to jumpstart cars with. I have used it for that, but it's also great for if you need to charge up your phones and lighting. And again, what would be useful in that case is to make sure that you have one of these USB with multiple outlets so that you're able to charge up several phones or USB items at the same time. I hope that helps.